number 10. And it is Mwaka Mpya 2015. So Google celebrated the new year in Kenya with a doodle in Swahili on the google.co.ke pages. This is the third time a Swahili search has shown up in the top 10 on net search. That's good news. At number 9. No surprise here, really. It's Joseph Boynet. Now, President Uhuru Kenyatta earlier this week nominated Boynet as the new Inspector General of Police. The President is now expected to forward his name to Parliament, and the vetting process could begin as early as Tuesday. At number 8. Tragedy once again in the air. An Indonesian-based AirAsia Airbus 320 plane crashed in the Java Sea on Sunday, killing 162 passengers and crew on board. News of the plane's disappearance was first broken on Sunday after it was reported missing en route to Singapore from Indonesia. Absolutely tragic. At number 7. New Year 2015, New Year messages, New Year quotes. And as the world celebrated a new year on January 1st, Kenyans searched the new year. They looked for New Year messages and quotes as well, probably to share with family and friends, and of course on social media, which we do so well. That's number 7. Let's take a look at number 6. This is interesting. It was 2014 trending topics. Now, at the close of 2014, most media houses sought to highlight some of the trending topics in the news for 2014. And this year as well, Google Year in Search 2014 highlighted the year's trending and most searched topics. This drew a lot of interest. Number 5. Coming in just a moment. And number 5 is Kenyan Daily Post. Now, this is a controversial news and, well, actually a gossip blog that often runs stories on prominent people, celebrities and politicians. Kenyans searched the site to find out what was new during the holiday season. Number 4. Harry Kane it is. And for those who don't know much about football, he's a professional football player who plays for Tottenham in the EPL, that's the English Premier League. He's been reported to have put up a good performance during this season, having scored 16 goals since renewing his contract in August last year. And he's emerged as Tottenham's first choice, according to the pundits. Number 3. Of course, it's the English Premier League, and people have been searching various matches as well. Some of the most searched matches were Chelsea and Tottenham, and Chelsea and Southampton as well. Number 2 now. Yes, this was a big one last week. The KCPE results. The Kenya National Examination Council on Tuesday released the national results for the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education. There was great interest in the council's website, www.knec.ac.ke. And at number 1. Now, this just occurred today, but it's trumped absolutely everything, just showing the outpouring of emotion. It is Fidel Odinga, the eldest son of former Prime Minister and court leader Raila Odinga, and his wife Ida. He was found dead in his Karen home earlier today after he went out with friends the evening before. The cause of his death has not yet been established, and investigations are ongoing. May he rest in peace. Now, the National Assembly could convene a special sitting as early as this week to approve or reject the nomination of Joseph Boynet as Inspector General of Police. The President is expected to submit Boynet's nomination to House Speaker Justin Muturi, who will summon the MPs for a special session. But as Francis Gashuri reports, while the Jubilee team wants the appointment expedited, opposition lawmakers have faulted the President for nominating Boynet using the Security Laws Amendment Act 2014. Gashuri has the details for us.
Members of the August House could once again be forced to cut short their break to set in motion the process of appointing the country's top cop. The government, keen on using its numerical strength in the National Assembly to speed up the process of appointing Joseph Boynet, who was picked by President Uhuru Kenyatta to fill the void left by David Kimayo, who was forced out following a series of terror attacks.
The matter of nomination and approval of the IG is an urgent matter, and it's on that basis that my office will write to the Speaker to ask for the reconvening of a special sitting of Parliament.
President Uhuru Kenyatta will have to formally write to Speaker of the National Assembly Justin Muturi and communicate his choice of Boynet as the next police boss. Muturi will in return pick an appropriate date for a special session of the National Assembly and summon the lawmakers through a notice in the Kenya Gazette. It's through a House plenary that Boynet's nomination will be submitted to the National Security Committee, chaired by Tiati Member of Parliament Asman Kamama for vetting.
Once that is done, the National Assembly has only 14 days to vet and approve the nominee. So we will discuss tomorrow when we resume the National Assembly, myself, the Speaker, and the Executive. If we get a communication from the Executive that they want that done, we will recall. I will write to the Speaker, asking for the House to be recalled first, for the message to be read from the floor by the Speaker and referred to the committee, and then that committee to be given powers to now to be given the go-ahead to vet.
The opposition team CORD was in a jubilant mood on Friday following a ruling by High Court Judge George Odinga suspending the implementation of 8 clauses in the Security Laws Amendment Act of 2014. He, however, declined to declare unconstitutional the law that was passed by the National Assembly in a stormy session as requested by CORD and the Kenya National Human Rights Commission.
The judge, out of 109 clauses, he dealt with only 8. And all those 8, he never said they were unconstitutional. He never said the parliamentary process was abused.
But the CORD team has faulted the president for nominating Boynet using the Security Laws Amendment Act of 2014, whose legality they have questioned.
Si haki kwenda kwa village yenye huyo Inspector General alitoka, watafute mpaka wapate mtu hata hajulikani, kuchukua yeye ati ndiye ana replace kwa sababu wanaendesha serikali ya kikabila.
But Jubilee coalition lawmakers have defended the president's choice of an Inspector General of Police and the security law.
We must protect our country if we love it. And loving our country is to mean we stop working with Al-Shabaab. There is no difference between the sympathizers of Al-Shabaab and the real Al-Shabaab.
Hata wiki ijayo tutaitwa huko, tuende tukapitisha Inspector General mpya ambaye alichaguliwa. Kama hawataki kufuata sheria ya nchi hii, si wahamie nchi nyingine na wakae huko.
Samuel Arachi is in charge of the police force, though in an acting capacity, awaiting the appointment of an Inspector General of Police. As a soft landing, President Kenyatta has appointed Kimayo to chair the Kenya Airports Authority Board. Francis Gashuri, Sunday Live.
Well, we have some breaking news from Huruma Estate in Nairobi. We are receiving unfortunate information that a 7-storied building has collapsed and scores of people are trapped inside the rubble. Kenya Red Cross ambulances, the police and other rescuers have rushed to the scene and are trying to save as many lives as possible. There are fears of deaths, though the numbers remain unclear. We will certainly keep you updated as the information comes in. Just to repeat that story for you, we have had breaking news from Huruma Estate, Nairobi, and a building, a 7-storied building, we are told, has collapsed. Scores of people are feared trapped inside the rubble. The Kenya Red Cross, ambulances, the police and other rescuers are at the scene and are trying to save as many lives as possible. There are fears of deaths, though the numbers remain unclear. As I mentioned, we certainly will let you know the latest as it comes in. Now we move to some good news, and female genital mutilation stories have topped headlines in the country for quite a while. And it's a relief when one story among those depressing stories is a positive aspect. And this is a story about a long-term circumciser in Pokot County who has chosen to drop the knife and embrace efforts to end FGM. Let's have a look.
For years, she has lived believing in the cut of the knife. It had become a source of income, despite the danger she has posed to thousands of girls from her village. But today, Cheptai Chepurai has seen the light and dropped the knife for the sake of girls in her village. That hard decision coming at a time that reports of an increase in female genital mutilation have worried rights crusaders. Cheparui learnt the practice from one of her parents, who was a well-known circumciser.
So anasema kwa jumla amekeketa wasichana wengi sana, na alikuwa anafurahia kwa sababu ilikuwa a source of income, kwa sababu wale wangekuja halafu baadaye msichana baada ya kutairi baada ya kuozwa wanamletea mbuzi.
The mother of 3 dropped her trade when it dawned on her that the practice was harmful to young girls following a relentless campaign by non-governmental organizations.
He has 3 daughters. So our daughters wake watatu, baada ya hiyo kikundi ya kina mama kumtembelea, aliamua kwamba atawasaidia na hata kubali wapitie hiyo tohara, and she is very happy now kwa sababu the 3 daughters wako shule. Hata mwingine alienda shule akiwa mkubwa sana, lakini ilitokana tu na vile aliona umuhimu ya kupeleka mtoto shule na kupitia sasa tohara.
Chaparui's decision coincided with the graduation of over 200 girls from an alternative rite of passage at Berbalo Catholic Church. And a number of them, like Alice Chelimo, who escaped the cut, has now become a crusader against female genital mutilation.
I sat down with a friend of mine, Rachel Chebet, tukasema tuform kikundi ya kusaidia wasichana wenzetu. But I'm so happy today kwa sababu nimeona tulianza tukiwa wawili, lakini leo tunasherehekea kwamba we have 129 candidates.
In Baringo South, girls from Pokot, Njems, Tugen and Turkana communities also benefited from a similar alternative rite of passage. Their graduation ceremony was attended by the head of the Anti-Female Genital Mutilation Board, Lina Chebi Kilimo, who also emphasized the need to sustain effort aimed at ending the practice.
The consequences of FGM. Ya kwanza ni kukufa. Sababu kuna wasichana wanakufa wakati ile wanatairiwa. Kwa hivyo kama ukitairi mtoto ya mtu ama mtoto wako na kufe wakati hiyo, wewe utafungwa kifungu cha maisha.
Nastia Mohammed for Sunday Live.
An excellent story there. Now, hundreds of passengers were stranded at the Moi International Airport, Mombasa, after all flights to the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport, JKIA, in Nairobi, were diverted to the coastal town. This was after a plane carrying 6 passengers crash-landed at JKIA after its landing gear failed to discharge. No one was injured in the incident, as our reporter Dennis Sotieno now reports.
Operations at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport came to a halt for a better part of today after this plane crash-landed on the runway. The plane from Skyward Flight Company was carrying 6 passengers from Wajir to Nairobi when the mishap occurred. According to a statement from the affected airline, the plane hit 2 marabou stock birds after taking off from Wajir. The crew, however, only realized there was a problem when they experienced trouble while landing at Wilson Airport. It was established that the birds' remains were wedged in the main landing gears. Consequently, the pilot had to maneuver the aircraft and belly land at JKIA's runway, which is longer, at around 11 in the morning on Sunday. As a result, all flights headed to JKIA were diverted to Mombasa's Moi International Airport. And this was the situation at the busy airport, which inconvenienced over 800 passengers. Several flights were also delayed from JKIA.
So far we have received a total of 10 diverted aircraft from Jomo Kenyatta, and the passengers who are diverted with those aircraft are a total of 874. Out of the 10 flights that have been diverted here, 7 were international flights and 3 domestic.
The Kenya Airports Authority KAA has confirmed that no casualties or injuries were reported during the morning incident. However, normal traffic at the JKIA resumed at around 4:20 in the afternoon Sunday, with flights landing and taking off after a closure of the runway for about 5 hours. Dennis Otieno, Sunday Live.
No one heard, thankfully. Now, we've been asking your thoughts tonight on the impending teachers' strike. Should teachers proceed on strike? Yes or no? Do start with a yes or a no for your vote to count. The SMS number 22422. Your views are coming in on various different platforms. I'll read a couple of SMSs for you. This one is from DC Mudhuri in Meru. He says, no, teachers should not strike. In case they do, parents should position themselves for decisive action. Children and schools belong to parents, he says. But Grace disagrees. She says teachers should go on strike. They really struggle with peanuts for salaries, yet their children are never considered for bursaries, scholarships or loans from HELP just because their parents are teachers. Enough is enough. What do you think? Share your views. We come back with the results after the break and after sports. Stay with Sunday Live.
Nilipigiwa simu nikiwa kwa barabara. Nikaambiwa mimi ndiye mshindi wa 1 million. Sikuwa natarajia kuwa kama nitapata hii milioni 1. Nitawaambia wote mahali wapo waendelee kuponyesha ndio washindi wa milioni 5 na hii pickup moja. Hii pesa nataka kuwaelimisha watoto, na kama ni pande ya biashara niinue kidogo ndio maisha niendelee nayo.
Buy school supplies early. Avoid a last-minute rush when supplies run out of stock.
Enter the Big to School promotion today. Buy at least 5 big pens and win instantly. There's over 3.5 million worth of prizes to be won. Win big with Big.
Tell me one thing, Montserrat. If you are really and truly in love.
Yes, Dad.
You're still my little girl, my beautiful Montserrat. If you make calls adding up to 20 minutes daily on Orange, that's 60 bob a day. That means with Orange, you save 20 bob a day. Today changes with Orange.
Time now for sport, and Manchester United, their neighbours City, Aston Villa and Stoke City are all into the 4th round of the GA Cup after winning their matches today. Victor Wanyama's Southampton face a replay against Ipswich Town after a 1-1 draw. Here are some of the day's goals.
Able to come forward again. Rooney. Back for Fletcher. It deflects. Oh, and it's an opportunist goal by Ander. Rooney. Oh, it's a terrific ball, and Di Maria is away to wrap it up here for Manchester United. Job done.
Nakoma finds Lee, and that's a good ball. May is onside. Nahiu trying to make tracks into the area, and there he is! But it will come straight back. Fernando. And now Navas is onside. Silva! And Milner puts it in.
Some great action there. Now, when Teddy Omondi left Kenya for further studies in 2005, he didn't know that this was the beginning of a journey towards playing professional rugby. 9 years later, and Teddy is one of the most accomplished rugby players Kenya has produced. On Newsmakers and Sports Tonight, we are still in France, where Mike Okinye landed in search of Teddy Omondi.
It was a dream I had in high school to become a professional rugby player one day.
Tucked away 450 kilometers south of Paris is Vannes, an old town that has a lot of history for France, being the epicenter of the French resistance to the Julius Caesar rule after the Roman conquest. Ted Omondi left Kenya in 2005 while at his prime, playing for Kenya Harlequins and also a co-member of the national sevens rugby team. His journey towards the professional stint started in Wales, where he went for studies on a sports scholarship that meant he got to play rugby as well for the University of Glamorgan.
We managed winning the D1 of British university schools in 2005 with the boys at the university. It was quite an awesome experience. It actually allowed me to acclimatize in the European rugby environment.
Wales was a grooming ground for Ted Omondi to the European style of play. France was beckoning and Racing Metro was the destination. Quick and radical adjustments were necessary.
And I really had to adjust very, very fast, especially physically, and also my game of 15s rugby, because I was basically a sevens player.
Ted Omondi moved to 3 more clubs in 6 seasons before landing at Van. It is a 2-year +1 contract, meaning the 3rd year is an option depending on the initial 2 years.
I liked their project that they had. The infrastructure that they have was quite decent, and they are a club that is going places.
So the initial years here in France had its own challenges. First and most crucial, the language barrier. Though he speaks French after 8 years in France, he is still learning a lot. The fruits of all the learning and going through the tough language barrier is that he is now assimilated into the French culture.
Fortunately, Racing Metro put us through intensive French classes, and I would also talk to friends here and there, the Kenyans who are here. Elio Uma would really help me out. Dennis Wadiech as well, when he'd come to visit us in Paris. And we'd actually learn a lot by speaking, looking at the television, and going through board sessions during training sessions.
Ted Omondi is not alone in France. His wife Sheila and son Keino are with him in Van, his fully professional contract allowing him some time with his family as he does not engage in any other profession other than playing for Van RFC.
My wife has been very, very supportive for the 3 years we've been together in France. She's been very supportive of my rugby career. She really helps me out. She really is my support system, my rock. And as well my son. I really appreciate what they do for me in my journey towards being a professional rugby career. I don't always tell you, she really helps me out with my nutrition, to check my weight, what I eat, what I don't eat. She makes sure I get the proper nutrition.
Not many years remain in his playing career, and so he's looking into the future, the development of rugby in the upcoming players. He's already involved with the coaching of the development side at Van. Every week he meets the senior youth coach at his office to go through the program for the week before Teddy dashes off for training with his teammates.
Il va se remettre comme ça. Les derniers vont jouer 9.
I really would like to get into coaching, especially into rugby development. And I was actually impressed by the French system of rugby development, and I would really like if the Kenyan rugby community would benchmark the French system. And it actually made me go ahead and do the FFR rugby coaching certificates, done level 1, level 2.
It has been a long time out of the national teams, the last assignment being with the national sevens team. Is he done playing for Kenya?
For the Kenyan teams, I would really like to get involved, but we'll see what the future has in store in terms of being involved, because it's a bit different when you're under professional obligations with the club in terms of release for the tournaments.
The season is barely halfway, and with the changes at the National 7th Technical Bench, maybe they will invite him again before the season ends, this being an Olympic qualification season. Michael Kinyi for Newsmakers.
Well, that's it. We've come to the end of the show, but let's take a look at our question and the results from your voting. We asked tonight, should teachers proceed on strike? What were your thoughts? The results on the screen, please. They're on the way, and I'm told it was rather tight, but it's kind of made a move, and it's hanged, but I'll give you the results verbally. I'm told the machine has hanged as I try to build up the suspense. Well, it is yes, 57%, no, 43%. It was much tighter before, but a little bit of the sympathy has gone towards the teachers and their move. Let's take a look at your feedback on social media now. I'm told we've selected a few of your tweets. They should be on the screen in just a moment. I'll start with SMS as they work on that. And so Terry in Subukia says, yes, the government should realize TSC is headed by individuals who never understand what teachers go through. And the tweets, I'm told, are going to be up in a moment. I'm just looking for a no. No, Annie Lee says, no, children are going to suffer. That is the bottom line. Let's take a look at some of the tweets that I had mentioned. And there we have MUSCA champions. The strike is necessary because the welfare of teachers is the welfare of learners. Thank you. Very profound. Ndale Shaddai says, no, the teachers must have dialogue first with the government. They say 26 meetings are enough, but could they have done more? Mapesa Philip 38 says, yes, the demands for teachers are quite overdue. The government should do the needful. And Erastus Once says, I think it's high time they give dialogue a chance. It might be better for them. Strike is not the only way out. And this is the final one we've selected for tonight. Issa Oyo says, yes, the government must take the plight of teachers seriously. They can't play hide and seek games on the future of our children. So lots of views there from you, and you heard it in here. Wilson Sossion of the KNUT said, do not send your children to school. Teachers are on strike. The government says, go ahead and do it. Do what is in the interest of your children. Keep them safe. Be sure wherever you're sending them, and be safe, of course. Tomorrow I join you with Africa Leadership Dialogues. That's after our incredible Monday special with Janet Bogo and Hussein Mohammed. I'll be talking private equity and how it can transform your life on Africa Leadership Dialogues. I look forward to being with you then. Thank you so much for joining us on Sunday Live. A final word to say, so many condolences still pouring in for the Odinga family, and we finish with just again our thoughts and prayers with the family, the friends and the loved ones of Fidel Odinga, and may he rest in peace. Good night and God bless you.
Mortein Doom, which makes mosquitoes go away and not come back the whole night. So you get a peaceful night's sleep all night long.
Mortein Doom. A peaceful night is a Mortein Doom night.
We all agree Chipsy brings out the best in your cooking. Fortified with vitamin A, D and E. Chipsy brings out the expert in you.
Chipsy! Every day is a winning day with Safaricom. Every day kuna millionaire. Nakumbuka ya kwamba vile masiku sinayoyoma, sindano pia inayoyoma. Tumebaki na siku ngapi? Siku mbili peke yake. tuweze kupata grand prize ya 5 million plus pickup.
The first step to the best ever fried food is choosing the right oil. It's essential to consider the oil's taste and smoke point.
My best friend and only one. We want fish.
What does Kimbo mean to you?
Kimbo.